Wherever you are around the country, you're tuned into Kenya's biggest conversation. This is the Situation Room on this last Monday of November 2021. Where are you tuned in? Around the country, around the world, on 94.4 in Nairobi, 102.5 in Kisumu, 90.9 in Nyeri, and online as well. Live streams are up on SpiceFM KE, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We're kicking off the second hour of the show this morning and having a serious conversation today, and I'll let you know with whom in a bit. Before that, let's start with today's proverb. Siti?
Aliye kando haangukiwi na mti.
Aliye kando
haangukiwi na mti. The presumption here is ako kando ya hiyo mti. Now the kando, you know, you can be on both sides of the tree. Now the kando is the side on which it might actually fall.
Right.
Yes, but of course now you can extend it to think about what else can fall on your head. Rain can fall on your head.
And what must you use to protect yourself?
And where do you need to position yourself so that that unpleasant perchance doesn't befall you?
Indeed. Well, isn't that the question, though? What are we going to use to protect ourselves? Even getting into political, really into the political season now, the tempo has been upped quite some. And maybe our guest who's in the hot seat this morning will be able to tell us today. I think there's certain things that he thinks. And are we having the conversation around what leaders promise? Who is being offered up in the leadership today, and what choices do we have in terms of decisions that we will make? Honorable JJ Mututho is in the studio with us this morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana. Asante.
How have you been?
I've been well. I'm enjoying 5 wonderful years when you just sit by the bench and observe the prayers.
Right.
Analyze their moves, look at the good things they're doing, and then take a decision or make a move out of that.
Okay, so let's go before those 5 years just a little bit. I mean, obviously we know your name. The Mututho laws came about because certain things you refused to keep silent about, and then everybody just knew, you know, until it even became a thing. Well, we're not going out tonight, or we're going to be back by a certain time, or we're not doing 1, 2, 3 or the other because, you know, there's Mututho. Right?
Yeah, sure.
So obviously that was you not being silent about certain things.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and saying, you know, we sitting in parliament and then also saying, look, I'm going to use my position to do a little bit better. What fueled that then, if you can just do a quick recap?
A lot of things, but a principle, the trigger point, maybe that's what would be important, that when in parliament those days you would get duty-free cars. You buy any vehicle you imagine. Some even bought airplanes, and it was duty-free.
Yes.
So I ordered the state-of-the-art Mercedes S600, really special. And it had a lot of specs. I mean, it is out of this world. I paid the deposit at Parliament so that they can transmit to DTW. Yeah. And that same day, I was driving another four-wheel drive. I was driving a four-wheel drive of a Toyota. Land Cruiser, the popular one you see, VX, then V8 and so forth. I went to Gatundu, and on my way to Gatundu, just before getting Shaweri, on the way there were about, around 10 o'clock, there were about 400 people in the trenches sleeping. Drunk, yeah, drunk. Drunk, they can't, and I stopped over, and I looked at them and had a chat. They can hardly say anything, they just drunk, they were drunk. I think very drunk. The type I saw. By the way, I saw another group like that in Kericho the other day, just behind the technical college. So I came back to my car. We had a driver, and I prayed a moment and said, "Now, God, look at John Mututho here. He's going to, within a week, he's going to do deposit in DTW, and in Germany, in 3 months, 6 months, they will start production. See, Mercedes S600 is you order. It is never in the showroom. And I'll be driving through these people. A back left or back right or driving. What kind of a human being am I, really? Surely. There must be a problem here. Around that same time, I was appointed the chairman of Agriculture Committee. And I'm one man who believes in science. I've spent about 21 years in universities without failing, 4 different universities. So I was trying to understand what has befallen Central Kenya at that time, and why is coffee, tea, and everything failing in agriculture. Then I had just come to a conclusion that there are 4 factors of production in agriculture, just 4. You have land, you have labor, you have capital, you have entrepreneurship or management. They have land, but labor has gone because of alcohol. Around the same time, I was summoned by the former president, Mwai Kibaki, and wanted me to make a comment on really what's happening with agriculture. Why is agriculture just failing all over? Name it. I already knew labor was a problem, and soon land goes away, capital evaporates as you get drunk. That, together with the fact that I had lost my dear brother, I really loved my brother, out of alcohol problems, alcohol-related problems, sometimes just a few years before that. I had grown in Rift Valley, Squatter area, and had seen the worst of it, the alcohol people. I had never drank. That said, I must do something. Don't just sit there and sulk. I must do something. I investigated, why don't we have an effective law that will control the production and consumption, and not banning, but control the production and consumption of alcohol, and bring sanity to this industry, because they don't have it in Europe, they don't have it elsewhere. They never used to have it in traditional African system. And that's how Mututho law comes about. It's an evolution of something that was started in 1907. In 1907, when they had the first regico, the first ever legislative bills that were set one was stopping the slave trade. That was in August 17th, 1907, around 2 o'clock. And the second one was stopping all management of intoxicating drinks in Africans. But the second one could not work.
Right.
So there has been a big chronology of events culminating in what you see like Chang'an Prohibition Act, African Drinks Control Act, and so forth and so forth. But there was never a comprehensive law that was going to control the production and consumption, sale and consumption of alcohol. That's how Mututho law came about. And
it was quite effective because it basically took the country by storm. Everybody had your name. So you, of course, you were then synonymous with this kind of revolutionary thinking whereby we said, look, this thing that had controlled people previously, we're saying, look, can we just manage it a little bit better so we don't have people lying in the trenches.
Yes.
We don't have people not even aware of their whereabouts, that we'll be able to then do something meaningful and not have these accidents, terrible accidents. Like I witnessed a terrible one this morning at 4 in the morning coming to work. It was really bad. And unfortunately, somebody was drunk. So here it was a revolutionary kind of thinking at that time.
Sure.
So we're coming into a different dispensation today. And from where you are sitting, I mean, not necessarily in Parliament, but as a concerned citizen and somebody who was in that place before, you're saying something different about leadership today.
Yes, today is even more worrying than when I was tackling this issue of being drunk. We are not drunk with power. Let me draw you back a bit and tell you, from 1955, when they were taking the late President Moi, when he was the representative of Rift Valley, to become the MP, literally the MP for Rift Valley, 1955 to 1978, the leaders who were elected and who volunteered themselves and offered themselves for elections came with one philosophy: it's our time to serve. It's our time to serve. That changed in 1979 and was perfected 2013 and 2017 to it's our time to eat. So the eaters and the eating group have evolved so fast and so dangerously that they have forgotten the reason, the rationale in people's representatives. They have forgotten, why did we have to have members of parliament in the first instance in England, around 17th or 18th century? It's because people wanted to be represented. They had no problem in paying taxes, but they wanted to have a voice in whatever your decision you take and how you're going to use this money.
Mheshimiwa, let me ask you something. Huh? Even as you're speaking, and I'm taking my mind back. What happened? Yes, people decided that they wanted to grow rich, and the source of that wealth seemed to emanate from plundering state resources. But what changed? Why, in your mind, did people opt out of the whole ethos of service that they started off with?
It was, first of all, I would say that the then President Muthui, who had done 15 years as a very active vice to the late President Kenyatta, had seen the elite Kikuyu who enjoyed power and glory. They had seen them doing high-rise buildings, owning jumbos and things like that. He came from Baringo. He knew his people could not come anywhere close to what Kiambu were enjoying that particular time, just because of money. There are people who are poor, and from the Muthui, Baringo. And certainly, he had to find a way of retaining power, staying in power, and having the cahoot of strong people like Biwott and all these others, who would hold him to power and who are rich. And that is my thinking. Number two, he had already faced a lot of austerities in 1976, changing the constitution. And the reason they were giving why they didn't want more is not that he was not effective as a deputy, but he was a nobody in the circles of people.
From Kiambu.
From Kiambu. So those cartels there, he felt offended that working so hard, so faithfully for his vote, some people still felt it was nothing. Just like today, I'll tell you, and I would really ask you if you are near the highway, you need to just wake up and stay late, work late, conveniently, till 10 midnight, and go by this highway just next to the airport. You see a breed of Kenyans who drive cars that even Americans don't drive, but they drive between 11 midnight because they just can't stand matatos, they can't stand us with these retro cars. This breed of Kenyans who are in this world, who think they are in this world by mistake, this part of the world by mistake.
There are those who claim, if you're talking about the history of this country, with the Ndegwa Commission.
Sure.
And the one aspect, you see, people talk about this was the only thing that was in the Ndegwa Commission. But it's the thing they point to, that the Ndegwa Commission then allowed for something to come into play. Civil servants were allowed to conduct business.
Sure.
So now, looked at just superficially, it therefore means that you removed any cautionary measure of conflict of interest.
For sure.
Because there is no entity in any country that has more money than the government.
For sure. And this time around, they now started making budgets that are tailor-made by the thieves who are stealing the dams, the thieves who are stealing the highways, the thieves who are stealing the hospitals. So by the time the documents come to Parliament for budgetary approval, which is supposed to be really the sacred role of Parliament, it's already predetermined. You see tenders advertised even today in your papers. Until now, most of these tenders have their owners.
Right.
They have their own directors. So you waste a lot of time bidding and doing things, but they're already it's predetermined robbery. Yeah.
So okay, so we've heard this a couple of times. I think even last week Thursday we were told this once again, that Parliament, for example, is captured. Parliament is in the pocket of the executive, and this is not something that has started just now in the life of this particular parliament. It's something that has been there before. So what you're saying, Mheshimiwa, is that yourself also has seen this. So are we saying that we do have lame duck parliaments, and we've had lame duck parliaments from time immemorial, and it's going to continue to be the trend so long as the one in the executive wants certain things done a certain way? Is that what we're saying?
Sure. I served under very strict Speaker Marende, and it was illegal, not approximately illegal, for a chairman of a committee or a member of the committee like me, who was chairman of agriculture, to go and enjoy coffee with the Minister of Agriculture. My wife was a director there then. And even much as I love her, I would not go to the buildings because the standing orders were very clear that if you are conducting oversight to a ministry, then you have no business going to enjoy coffee. Today, they go for coffee, they go for dance, they party together, they get them air ticket, they get them hotels. How do you do oversight like that? Utakuwa umbwa gani? Umbwa kali cannot be sharing bones with the master. It is not possible, or at least this particular time.
Okay.
So this parliament, and they are reasoning to me, 12th parliament, show me one committee that has teeth, including the coveted, the most respected powers and privileges, where Waheshimiwas behave not like idiots, but something very similar in the public. And if that happened, you are supposed to be taken to the Powers and Privilege Committee. And in our time, you lose the title honorable.
You did.
You did. So we didn't want to appear there, even be someone there. The other thing we could do, the speaker was not suggestive. He did not have to tell you, please sit down, please, I don't want to, please, member, there's no word like please. He stands up, you shut up. He stands up, even if you're at the middle of a sentence, you cut and sit down. If he speaks, he will tell you order. Order, Honorable Mututho, you are out of order, and you are out of the house. I order you out of the house for the next 3 sitting days. That could be 2 weeks, because the way they calculate, and you can't even access your office. Right. It was that serious. If we want to have anything near sanity, let's have people like Speaker Marende back. People who would follow the doctrines the way they're supposed to be. Just like in media. Today you have every dictum and Harriet setting up a radio station, doing a YouTube TV channel, and doing everything, and forgetting every ethic in media coverage. Like, for instance, somebody will be about to commit crime, about to kill a child, but instead of going for the rescue, you are very busy adjusting your poor camera in your phone, trying to capture that. So we need ethics. So to me, let me be corrected. If you know one, tell me. I know the committees in Parliament. Right. Tell me one committee that functions as an oversight body.
Are they the argument that we have been given, and I mean, in no way is this a question, a justification of any kind of action, but according to what they've told us, is that they don't have a choice but to behave in the manner in which they are. No, that they don't have a choice but to make the decisions that they make. And it could go in line with what you've just said, that it has already been predetermined how they should behave, the decisions that they should make, the manner in which they should oversight. It has already been determined for them.
Yeah, but as a member of Parliament, your royalty is to the people who elected you. I stood firm and said, you can't sell Mumias. You can't sell Nzoia. You can't sell KPCU. They tried to offer me KFA, part of it. I said, no, you can't sell. These are public assets. You can't do it. I was summoned by those ministers, not summoned really, but they sent a lot of emissaries. Please tone down. Tone down. Let some of these assets go. And if you look, in my committee, I even summoned the EACC boss. I summoned the KCB boss that particular time, who wanted to auction. And they went to auction and stopped the auction for KPCU. There would be no KPCU today. The president, and they are very lucky, the presidents we have had, Kibaki and Uhuru, are real gentlemen. Yeah? Just do your job and do it right. You never, ever be forced. You saw it. I stopped import of GMO maize. Prime Minister Raila Odinga was in charge and was fiery. But he respected my decision, because I had science that this maize was not only having aflatoxin, but was also GMO and could result in serious cancer. You saw it. And you see, if you do your job, nobody's going to victimize you. You saw me evict Babu Owino from University of Nairobi when I was chairman Nakada. I worked there at 10 o'clock, and that was the last time he was there. This issue that a student there holds the whole country to hostage. With things which are within your domain. You have been already instructed to be on air today. Why are you again going to seek for the CEO to come and seek permission to be on air? You do your job. Be sacked for doing your job, and you will never be sacked in Kenya.
Mheshimiwa, Ndu mentioned something about what members of parliament who sat where you're sitting or politicians have told us. The question I asked earlier on, I want to rephrase it. In your mind, having been in Parliament, what is this thing that changed that made our Parliament susceptible to the charms of the executive? Because there's nowhere on this planet where the executive never stops trying to manipulate Parliament. They all do. They all want to have, and that is why the three arms of government were set, because it was understood there needs to be a check and balance.
But sure. What happened is that the members of Parliament discovered they were not very rich. And the executive was very rich. And they also discovered that actually it's Parliament that makes executive rich. So they formed a coalition of eaters around that bit. So those in the budget committee,
for instance,
and those ones in the executive would carefully design out a dam to be done in Nakuru, to be known XYZ, and be given a budget of, say, 40 billion. Wait a minute, 40 billion Kenya shillings. What is the total allocation of Nakuru County from the national government?
Every year.
Every year. By that time, it was 11, 12 billion. So you are going to get a dam equivalent to 4 years or 5 years.
Yes. Budget allocation for
budget
the county.
Of the county.
Yes.
Okay. That is the first flow. Tick. Okay. What is actual design cost? 5.5 billion according to former officials, Prime Minister and others. What is the current cost? 39 billion. Why? Because, and you'll fall asleep before the because finishes. So, when they do the dam, there is one very big eating party. And they eat, and they eat the stock. There are dams like in Kiweni, which were over-publicized. And they were never constructed, but all the funds are exhausted.
We are live in the studio this morning, CT Muga Nduoko with Honorable J.J. Mututho. And we're asking the question, what should we demand from leaders? I think we've set it already. And we said, look, right now, we maybe have a mirror, not even a mirror, but very, very far away from what we ought to have in terms of leadership. But Mweshimiwa, we're in the middle of political silly season right now. The rallies have begun. The statements are being made. The ground has been set for what many have described as what is going to be an epic battle across board, not just at the very top in terms of position, but, from the ground going up. Everybody's scrambling. But the question is, the people who are scrambling, are they scrambling to be in this position so that they can make things better for people? Or are they scrambling to be in this position so that they can get something better for themselves?
They can get something better for themselves, because I have had time to analyze, say, from my friend William, 300 speeches he has made in the last couple of years.
William?
Samuel Ruto.
Oh, okay, William.
Dr. Ruto. When you say William, I thought maybe it's a childhood friend, somebody.
No, we have known each other for a very long time.
Okay.
Like Tunajuana is William.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've also looked at Baba's speeches.
Yes.
I analyzed and found what I found. I gave political analysts, and they gave me an answer of what they found. Now I've given media analysts, just in case kizungu nakuwa mingi. Unajua kizungu naweza kuwa mingi, then you don't understand.
Kizungu inakuwa mingi, then inafuatwa na catwalk.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are saying nothing, because what you want to hear is that when you witness, and sorry about it, you witness the accident at 4 a.m. There would be air ambulance or ambulance, somebody who would come and rescue the victim. There would be a marshal who will safely divert traffic through a safe destination. If you look just outside your studios here, they are doing a very good job on the road. But if you check on the drain, say about a kilometer from here, how deep they are, and they are not protected, and you happen to just slip, or you are forced into that ditch, whether you are driving or what, then you are meeting your maker. That is lack of sanity, lack of decorum. All these things have been provided for in a contract. They are qualified engineers here. The people who are going to be elected now have started showing who they are, and they're telling us nothing so far. And I'm here. And I would really wish anybody, the prospective presidents or whoever they are, to call me for a debate, an open debate.
They're talking, though. They're saying a lot of things.
No, but what I'm wondering about, I hear what Mheshimiwa is saying. He has summed up what they say, and he says it's nothing. So are we saying that all these people who go for these rallies are attracted by nothing, that they are going to listen to nothing?
They're waiting to hear something. But again, eventually they get something for their pocket for the day. Because people out there in the rural area are very poor now, more than any other
that
thing.
whole crowd doesn't get money. I mean,
Everybody who attends,
those crowds are too huge. Or are we saying that it is possible to give that entire crowd money?
You know what? Today, if you walk out here and go on into the highway here, not even the street, and move your shirt and start lifting like that, you will for sure attract about 50 to 100 Kenyans. Kenyans are very anxious people. They like looking and gazing at nothing and just get attracted. They just come there. They have not been invited. They just want to come there. And politicians have learned the skill. So you come on with, you estimate, you need about 2,000 people to address. So you stimulate that with about 200 goons for crowd for hire. They come with the collars. They are making too much noise in an orderly fashion. Mututho, 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 you know. And then there will be another 80% who now come on to know exactly what's happening. They're just anxious.
it sounds like a formula that many have followed previously.
Yes.
Is this something that you did as well?
No, I didn't do, because what happened is that with my case, it was different now. People wanted to see this guy who is causing Mututho hours. Who is this who is making people not celebrate?
Who is this that's making people go home at 10, 11 o'clock?
Yes, but they forgot one thing, on a light touch. Do you enjoy football?
I myself?
Sorry, soccer.
Indeed, yes.
And have you ever seen a superstar who cannot score a penalty?
Yes.
Yes.
Many times. But you have never seen one, and my people in Central will agree with me, where you have 6 meters only, it's an empty goal and you can't score. That's where we are because of alcohol. Unawekewa mpira pale, 6 meters, empty goalkeeper, you can't score. And you understand what I mean. Because this is, if it was past 10 p.m., I would tell you more. But you understand.
Yes.
Where's funga at 6 meters? Bure wewe. Yeah?
Yes.
I want to go back to the statement that you made, not about the 6 meters. No, what I want to go back to.
It's a watershed period. Yes, we understand.
I mean, you are a politician.
Yeah.
And you understand the trade craft that politicians have. It is words. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, this thing that you refer to as nothing, clearly some people take it in and make something out of it.
Yeah.
And they think it gives them some direction. Where I'm in agreement with you is that beyond the promise, in fact, before you came, we were discussing it earlier on, when you say,
yes,
why is it that we don't hear any of these so-called front runners or presidential candidates talking to us about the concrete things, not they're going to do, not that, how they're going to do it.
And what they have done, that will even show, you know what, if I heard what you have done, then it gives me a little bit of comfortability when I'm interested in the how. Because if you've done it before, or if you've done something kind of like what you're talking about, then you understand the how. So this is the thing. What should Kenyans be looking out for?
Look, there's a gentleman who is there in public national media. This is Governor for Nyeri, and who was addressing Baba and told him, please forget about the history now. That history we know. We have heard all about it before. Tell us, what are we expecting from your government as Nyeri people? Simple, clear. Let's not talk in parables. What are we expecting? Don't talk in parable that the coffee will be exported or imported, whatever you want to do. Be specific that you are going to do a state-of-the-art Mukurweini factory. you are going to improve on the varieties of coffee that will be blah, 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 that you are now going to import now from Brazil like they used to import from us, so that we can now do the mixing here and breading here. Those are the kind of things you want to hear. But what they are telling us is nothing. That's why I insist it's nothing, because this. What is that take home?
I'd like to take a really quick break, a blink of an eye and a flick of the wrist break. But then the question is, your friends have told us certain things about what. A friend that you've named here this morning has told us certain things. Stadia, for example, that they would complete. The how would be very, very interesting to see what this is done. And isn't it about time that Kenyans began to demand the how?
You're taking a break?
We have to take a break very quickly. We're back in a bit. It's Kenya's biggest conversation. Don't go away. JJ Muthui will tell us we should be seeking for the how. Now, how do we seek for the how? How's that for a tongue twister?
Sure.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day. Spice. "24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
This is something people need to understand. Your money, my money, equals our money. We cannot have your money is our money and my money is my money.
The only way to live your best life is to create a balance between work, love, and play. The Adults in the Room is the only show on radio dedicated to educating Kenyans on how they can stay winning in life and in love. Text the word adult to 22840 to get the latest clips from Adults in the Room directly to your mobile phone. SMS adults to 22840.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
It's 13 minutes to 8 o'clock, and in the studio this morning, CT Muga and Ndroko, and we're joined by Mheshimiwa JJ Mututho, and we're asking those, look, sometimes when we hear these things, you know, every day I look at the papers, every day I listen to the news and everything that's said and the promises that are being made over and over and over again, things that people have said when they become president, when they become MCA, when they become member of parliament, when they become senator, when they become governor, this, that, the other thing will be done, you know. I'll give you one example. Stadia were promised to people, to Kenyans, you know, in this particular administration, unless those have been done under the radar, has not happened. How are they going to do new ones? How are they going to present new ones to Kenyans next year if they become president?
First of all, let me correct my friend, the deputy president, that a stadium has definitions. What you are going to do are meeting venues for your barazas. But if you want a stadium, you start by the youth leagues. You form sports associations. There is a college. There is the health element of it. There are so many things such that the stadium is ultimate goal, is the ultimate thing you achieve. Otherwise, if you plant a stadium in the middle of nowhere, even if you had succeeded, who will use it? Who will maintain it? How will it be used economically? These things cost money. It's just like you have a Jubojet, the finest Boeing you can be able to get, and then you are trying it on in an airstrip that has never had any landing for the last about 6 months. It's useless. So, and then the other thing is that people are so eager to cheat, to lie, complete lack of good public mannerism, that they would easily tell you that they are going to pipe milk like Dramia did. Dramia promised they would pipe milk. Bad mannerism in public policy. From Naivasha to Nairobi. Pipe milk, yeah.
Is there any in the world where milk is piped that way?
No. No, but the Kenyans believed. They believed that time.
But the Kenyans are believing now, or not? Is that not the case?
The late president, 1977, look through your papers, the cover, it was headline story, 1977. I remember. He said that by every home is going to have water. Okay, he went to heaven a year later, so maybe we can excuse him. But his able deputy should have followed it up. That was 1977. Do you remember something like Water 2000?
Yes.
Do you remember that every home would have water by year,
Supposed to have water.
by year 2000?
It was never achieved.
Do you remember the March talked about Listen 2030, something 2030?
Yes, there was the vision.
Vision 2030. Yes.
Maybe they are lacking glasses to see the vision again now. I don't hear too much of it now, the vision to 2030. And you saw that the government was very eager, such that even their stationery, if you get a letter from any government, there was something Vision 2030. What we are saying is that people in Kenya now must wake up, and that's why you come in as a station. Let us be told there will be nothing. We prepare for nothing, and we sit and organize our it or something, than being told these things they are saying. And I'm insisting. The two presidential candidates who have been talking, and I've also had a discussion with the others. I don't want to name because I had the privilege of having a discussion for 3 hours with the other contenders. I listen. You're saying you're going to reduce taxes. What's the roadmap? What are you trying to achieve? What taxes? What are you targeting?
Well, we had another one, Wiper leader, very clearly, Kalonzo Musyoka, who said, I will jail the corrupt and make Kenya a 24-hour economy. It sounds great.
No, it sounds repeated, and it sounds like something we've heard before. And this is where now I agree with Mheshimiwa. It falls in the category of hogwash. What do you What do you mean? In all honesty, history is our reference point. And that is why when politicians use it, you can understand it's ammunition they have. So we will judge them by their own history. You have been in a position of authority. Okay. Let's not talk about what you're going to do. Tell us what you did.
Yes.
Let's start there.
Ask John Mututho, tell you I poured bad alcohol, 4 million liters. I bombed five ships. The only man in the world who ever bombed the ships because of drugs. As a chairman Akada. I did it without a force. Hiring forces which were supposed to be working with my own money. I'll say it. What Kalonzo and others are saying should just be kept for the museum. It's a museum piece. It's not a strategy. It's not a policy. It is not something that you can advance and then go home and start investing in Kenya now because everybody will be jailed who is corrupt.
But you know, sorry, you know one of the things you talked about water. My understanding of some of these presidential aspirations in terms of project is the understanding that even if it doesn't happen in your lifetime as the president, given that it's intended for the country, it will be carried on by the person who comes in. And you mentioned, well, let me tell you why I say this. Credit has been given to the former president, Mwai Kibaki and Raila Odinga, for the infrastructure programs that they started. But I would give President Uhuru Kenyatta's government credit as well because they have done something with that. They have continued those projects
vigorously.
Yes, and they've even added some. This road network, I think, if you travel around this country, is when you will realize exactly what they have done. It is actually profound.
And you see what is supposed to happen now? If I was the president of the Republic of Kenya, say fifth president, you would take from where Uhuru stopped. Those are trunk loads. Now, make the last, this concept they started the last mile in electricity, remember? Have the last mile now in roads and have the last mile terminating in every ward. There are about 1,500 wards in the country. So with these 1,500 wards, don't just terminate a road there. Prepare. Get 10 to 30 acres of land and start an industrial park. So that that road terminates to an industrial park. Once it terminates to an industrial park, make it mandatory, like in China, that you cannot have all inclusive in one place. If you are doing mineral water, you do the bottle, the other one does the coke, the other one does the water. So that we have other smaller industries coming up there.
So are we saying that what Kenya should be looking for is leadership of continuity? Don't just come and tell people that what you're going to do is do all these magnificent, magnanimous projects, but look at the work that your would-be predecessor has done and say, now that this has begun, I am going to do my part and now try to continue that work, as opposed to say something that is going to get to your emotions at the moment in which I'm speaking to you. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, exactly. But more specifically, I would urge Kenyans to look at chemistry. We did it at secondary school level. There are some things which were called polymers. Polymers, in the better word, is plastic. These plastics, you see. One time you have a plastic here, which is a kalaya or a bucket. Then it has a specific chemical composition.
Right.
And the color. Then they decide to boil it up. They don't change anything, or they just introduce temperature and add a few ingredients, not really chemical, or another color. Then now you have kichana. Yeah. Then all of a sudden you'll have a sando, and so forth. But the chemical composition remains the same. The group of leaders we are having now, Kenyans, listen. These are just like the polymers. The chemical composition is the same. You will mold them to ODM, then NASA, you mold them to KANU, mold them to Jubilee, mold them to any other different color sometimes, but the chemical composition is the same. That's why we're having a shortage of ideas. You need to inject new ideas, and let's not just sulk about it. Clearly, people who have, like I've said, done about 300 speeches, and they're not saying anything. What makes you think that they were coming with something really dramatic? Look at the world, the way it is today.
But Mheshimiwa, do you think people really want something new?
Do people want something new? Because, you know, there's the old adage, you know, that people like what they know. They don't know what they like.
No, they will for sure. Because right now, our children, now Mututho's children, have realized they are also fathers. They have realized they are jobless. And their children will be jobless. But they have also seen children of the rich and children of the leaders are having private jets, and they are flying between South Africa and here at will. They have houses in every continent. So just in case there is a trouble in Asia, they would go live in Australia.
Right. It's interesting because that's a conversation that we'll be having at 8 o'clock in terms of the high unemployment in the country at the moment. And unless you're a son or a daughter of privilege, then it looks like it would be very difficult, or unless high connected in one place or another, it would be difficult for you to get in the door. So even as we are wrapping up this conversation, Mheshimiwa, what would be your message? Because we are going every weekend now, every day, every week after week, we're going to be fed this information. As Kenyans making a decision in August next year, what would it be?
I would just give an idea to the campaigners for the presidential seat. If you cannot come up with innovative ideas how you're going to salvage Kenya and push it through so that we are digitally competent, so that we are safe, so that we are food secure, just stay away. Just stay away. Enjoy your riches, because most of them are super rich. They're talking about billions and billions of the campaign. And allow these young men in the universities, not professors anymore, who are very innovative, very, very innovative. By the way, sorry, the time is running, but I went to Israel, and I go to Israel. I'm a consultant in food security. And in Israel, when I was there last, and Miriam Ruto was there with me, and I think Alonso was there, and a couple of other MPs. There are 13,000 billionaires who are students. Not because their fathers are billionaires, but because their innovative ideas have been turned commercial.
In Israel?
In Israel. And there were 30,000 millionaires. I say 13,000 billionaires and then 30,000 millionaires who are students. And they use very fine cars, beautiful cars, but they must attend classes 8 hours in a week. They have opportunities which we cannot afford for our people here.
Right.
I saw one, and you can Google and check in YouTube. One group of students sold a software to Intel for 2.8 trillion.
And it was supported.
It was supported by the government. And even the Prime Minister was there in the launching. If we don't have ideas, because surely we are land flat, we don't have the ideas anymore, please give way.
And let somebody else
just
take
enjoy your wealth. It will be good. It will be okay
and
with
let
you.
somebody handle it.
Yeah, for you.
Mheshimiwa JJ Mututho, thank you for being part of the Situation Room this morning. Hope to have you again soon so these conversations can continue. Folks, thank you.